So today, lads, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Fever GM and an interview that she did where you can tell by the way she's talking about these players who is very likely to make this team.
After trading the 8th pick, Indiana Fever fans were understandably anxious about their selections in the WNBA draft. The Fever's GM inadvertently gave away their draft strategy while discussing recent picks. She expressed overwhelming enthusiasm for Mikayla Tempson's impressive 6 feet 10 inches wingspan and defensive abilities, while showing little excitement for other prospects. It's safe to say her preferences were clear.
To be honest here, there is a player that we all kind of think is going to make the team.
The commentary provides a revealing insight into the Fever's draft strategy. The GM stumbled over Yavin's name and quickly summarized Bree Hall's credentials, signaling what truly caught her attention. These slips are telling, akin to a poker player's unconscious tells. Her choice of words and what she emphasized clearly outline who is likely to make the final cut alongside Caitlin Clark. Now, let's dive into the interview.
The WNBA draft, or we all had the WNBA draft, picked up 3 new players. And how are their stats going to complement the roster now?
Yeah, we had 2nd and 3rd round picks this year, so 19, 20, and 33. So we picked a little later than number one, right? Yeah. The last couple of years.
Did you notice that subtle but telling interview with the Fever GM? It was far from a typical press conference. She almost laid bare their entire draft strategy without directly stating it. What makes this especially intriguing is the way her tone, attention to detail, and enthusiasm changed with each of the picks at 19, 20, and 33. Her vocal inflections and choice of words painted a vivid picture of the team's genuine priorities.
But we were so pleased with where we landed, picked up Mikayla Tempson out of Florida State at number 19. Unbelievable defensive player. She's 6'2", but has a 6'10" wingspan.
Yeah.
She's the only player in the country to average 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. So we're really excited about her.
When discussing Mikayla Tempson from Florida State, the GM became a living scouting report. Her energy soared as she enthusiastically praised Tempson's defensive skills, labeling her an exceptional defensive player. The specificity of her analysis was impressive, highlighting Tempson's height of 6 feet 2 inches and her impressive wingspan of 6 feet 10 inches, which she described as a defensive fortress on the court. The GM also delved into her comprehensive statistical profile, and her eyes practically sparkled as she talked about Tempson's potential impact. It was clear that the GM was already envisioning how Tempson would fit into the team's rotation.
Bree Hall out of South Carolina, championship pedigree, was teammates with Aaliyah Boston at South Carolina, won a couple of championships down there, elite perimeter defender, can really do a lot of things on the defensive end.
In stark contrast, when the GM spoke about Bree Hall from South Carolina, her energy noticeably diminished. The rich detail that characterized her earlier analysis faded away, leaving behind vague generalities. Phrases like championship pedigree and elite perimeter defender felt like basketball executive jargon, subtle indicators that Hall might be a capable player, but not one they envision as a cornerstone of their future. The GM swiftly bypassed any specific achievements or statistics that might signal true enthusiasm for Hall's potential within the team. As for Yavin Young, she received the coldest treatment of all, with barely any mention or praise, which further underscored the lack of excitement surrounding her prospects.
Yvonne Ejim out of Gonzaga at number 33. Great post player, a lot of potential, Canadian national team member, so she's had some international.
The GM initially stumbled over Yavin Young's name, mistakenly referring to her as Yavin Turner before awkwardly correcting herself. Her description was painfully brief, merely identifying Young as a promising post player and noting her Canadian background. This came across as the basketball equivalent of a participation trophy, an acknowledgement of her presence but a clear message that she wouldn't be a focal point moving forward. The interview technique mirrored the way ESPN analysts evaluate draft prospects. Those they are excited about receive in-depth analyses, including wingspan, stats, and skill assessments, while players they're indifferent towards get generic praise about potential or fit. The GM applied the same approach, giving Mikayla Tempson the full draft night spotlight, while Young barely earned a passing mention, underscoring the lack of enthusiasm surrounding her future with the team.
So yeah, for two of these players, she has been she's basically just listed off. But when she's talking about Michaela Timpson, it's, you know, she's 6'2", she's elite defender, 6'2", 6'10" wingspan. She's the only player in D1 to do this, to get these numbers. There's 17, 10, and 3 blocks.
What's particularly revealing is how the GM's description aligned perfectly with their likelihood of making the final roster when a GM provides comprehensive details about a specific player while giving others minimal attention. They're subtly telegraphing the organization's internal evaluations. The pattern couldn't be clearer. Timpson received the full scouting breakdown with specific physical attributes and statistical evidence of her value. Paul got the abbreviated resume treatment, and the name confusion followed by vague references to potential is typically what GMs say when they're already thinking about roster cuts. The GM basically announced, "We're keeping Timpson," without actually saying those words.
For Bree Hall, it was like, yeah, Bree Hall, good defender. She's won 2 national championships, played with Leah Boston. And then for Yvonne Ejim, didn't even get her name right. Called her Yvonne Turner. I have no idea who Yvonne Turner is, but I would assume the lack of excitement for that one. But obviously, when Amber started listing Timpson's stats and wingspan, and that's realistically it, like.
Suddenly, the trading decision becomes crystal clear when viewed in a broader context. The Fever weren't making random moves, they were executing a master plan that largely went unnoticed. Trading away the 8th pick was the first step in a brilliant strategy designed to create the ideal supporting cast around Clark. Just days after the trade, the Fever signed Dana Bonner, which was clearly part of a well-coordinated approach. They had specific targets in mind and a clear plan for acquiring them. The front office essentially communicated, "We can derive more value by trading this pick and signing Bonner than by simply drafting someone at 8. This calculated decision showcases their commitment to building a competitive roster.
Right. But I think they were fine trading that pick. A big reason for that is because they were like a lot of teams. They probably thought they could get who they wanted at 19. Or they could get somebody they wanted at 19.
The Fever's GM expressed satisfaction with their later picks, indicating their confidence in the strategy they implemented. They had targeted specific players and executed their plan seamlessly. When looking at Sun Rivers, the 8th pick, her primary weakness stands out: she struggles with shooting. This poses a significant challenge when constructing a team around Caitlin Clark, whose exceptional passing can revolutionize games but loses its impact if her teammates can't score. While Rivers excels at defense and running the floor, one-dimensional players have become a luxury most teams can no longer afford in today's game. Balancing skill sets is crucial for success.
And they would rather have Sophie Cunningham and Michaela Timpson is better than the 8th pick, which is Sanaya Rivers, and I stand by that. Like, I think if you ask the Fever, do they want Sanaya Rivers, or would they rather Sanaya Rivers or Michaela Timpson, I think you're going to say Timpson.
The Fever's strategy is now unmistakable. Why settle for Rivers at 8th when they could secure a player with comparable defensive skills but greater scoring ability at the 19th pick? It's akin to trading in a basic model car for a fully loaded version at a lower price. Remarkably, the Fever not only brought in a veteran presence in Bonner but also managed to draft their targeted rookie. Rather than opting for Rivers, they orchestrated a series of intelligent decisions that complemented one another. This approach exemplifies calculated roster construction at its best. They recognized they didn't need a lockdown defender who couldn't contribute offensively, highlighting the importance of versatile players in today's game.
Rivers, they didn't need a lockdown defender who can't shoot the ball. Like, again, I don't think Sanaya Rivers would be a bad option for them, just purely because, again, she is locked down and she can run the floor and can run with Caitlin Clark. But like,
the critical differentiator is offensive capability in a league that prioritizes scoring. Players who can defend and contribute offensively are invaluable. Rivers' shooting limitations would have led to spacing issues for Clark, effectively constricting the floor and making it simpler for opponents to defend. By prioritizing a player who can score while still offering defensive proficiency, the Fever have optimized Clark's ability to distribute the ball effectively. This strategic choice enhances the overall dynamics of the team and creates more opportunities on the court.
Sinai Rivers cannot shoot the ball. So that's who went at number 8.
This trade exemplifies the Fever's keen understanding of draft value. They recognized that the difference between picks 8 and 19 wasn't as significant as it appeared, particularly for their specific needs. Their scouting identified a player who was a better system fit available later in the draft, enabling them to optimize value without compromising talent. This approach reflects strategic thinking akin to basketball chess rather than mere checkers. The Fever are planning multiple moves ahead, constructing a well-balanced roster that synergizes rather than assembling just a collection of names. For Clark, this is a game-changer. She'll be surrounded by players who complement her playing style, versatile defenders who can score. This dynamic makes it more challenging for opponents to trap her, providing her with additional space to create and distribute effectively.
Players around number 8, who the Fever realistically could have brought in. Aisha Siuka, no, not going to help them right away. They're not looking for a future pick. Players they could have taken with 8. Isaiah James, no.
WNBA rookie retention statistics present a sobering reality. Only about 30% of second-round picks make it onto final rosters, with even fewer third-round selections surviving. Teams often face limitations in roster spots and developmental resources for untested talent. When a GM specifically praises one rookie while offering generic remarks about others, it reveals real-time roster decision-making. Timpson's unique value lies in her blend of offensive skills and defensive capabilities. She can finish strong at the rim and consistently make mid-range jumpers, ensuring that defenses cannot afford to neglect her in order to double-team Clark. Clark's exceptional passing vision necessitates teammates who can capitalize on the opportunities she creates, making Timpson an essential asset.
But it just sounds like Michaela Timpson is as good as a guarantee to be on this Fever team. And I would say, obviously, you're not going to say, look, you're not going to go into an interview after the draft and say, yeah, you know, there's 2 other players, yeah, we're cutting both of them. We're cutting both of them. Like, you're obviously not going to go in and say that, but
Hall's championship experience keeps her competitive in the tight roster battle, but with only 12 spots available and established veterans contending for minutes at her position, the reality is harsh. There may only be room for one rookie, and the odds aren't in her favor. The WNBA's stringent salary cap complicates roster construction, necessitating that every player complements Clark, who serves as the focal point. Coaches highly value versatility, which is where Timpson excels. She offers an all-around skill set that integrates smoothly into team rotations, providing defense, scoring, and adaptability. This versatility makes her a more suitable long-term partner for Clark, allowing her to avoid one-dimensional role players. Timpson's inclusion tackles defensive weaknesses while delivering enough offensive support, ensuring Clark has the necessary space and help to thrive on the court.
you don't go on a big long speech about how great Michaela Timpson is, and then what you said for the others are that she's won 2 national championships, and for Timpson, she plays on the Canada team. Like it's basically what you got. But
what we just witnessed in that GM interview was a masterclass in reading the nuances of roster strategy. The Fever executed a flawless plan that led them to Michaela Timpson, who will serve as a defensive anchor alongside Caitlin Clark. True fans should pay attention to the enthusiasm in a GM's voice. That excitement often reveals more than the words themselves about the team's direction. When training camp concludes, anticipate seeing Timpson in that Fever jersey, with Hall vying for her place and Yum likely moving on. What are your thoughts on these roster predictions? Share your insights on this fascinating WNBA roster building process below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.